Alright, so I learned some things. Something I spent 10 days trying to figure out. It helps when you Google things, definitely, but I finally figured out my issue I've been having here. So let's see. So, see, I have this navigation node here. And then, normally, I just use a navigation mesh, and then I'll bake it. But I was using grid maps in that navigation mesh. And for whatever reason, like, you see all this was baked from when the grid maps were in there. But my AI using the pathfinding just kept going through the walls. And then I found out here, for grid maps, for one, you don't have to put them in the navigation mesh. And two, if you go into the mesh library for your grid map, in each item, there's a nav mesh. So you just create a new nav mesh for each thing, and it'll automatically bake it. So, I did not know that. So that one issue is fixed right there. And then, I don't know, there still might be a way to do it, I think, for intersect rays through code, but I found those also don't seem to work with grid maps. At least the method I was doing it with, that would work with normal meshes with a static with a static bodies. But I found using the node seems to work just fine. The raycast node. All right. Right now, I've been working on the AI, which let me see. So I've been working on renaming, some refactoring here. Uh, for my AI, I'm gonna get just detect whether it's facing the enemy here or the player, which it's gonna work for the player too, or the enemy, or any other actors in the game. Right now, I'm just trying to see whether the AI. I'm just trying to make it so the AI can tell whether. I'm just trying to see if the player is in the field of vision for the AI right now. So, so Oh, that might be perfect. I might just use angle 2. So, let's see. It's gonna return radians. It doesn't matter which one's first, but just listing cell first seems, I don't know, this works better with my brain. Think of myself first, not others. So, angle 2 radians. And then radian 2 degree. Alright. Press C. That works. There. No, this is just the position. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything here to signify where they're facing. So, there's something I'm not getting. This isn't gonna work. My debug key. It's more just detecting the distance. Yeah, alright. Oh, you know what? I was just gonna watch a YouTube tutorial. Alright. This video is probably gonna help me out. Alright.
The dot product is an essential operation that allows us to compare the angle between two vectors. With it, you can do things like detect whether the player can walk on a slope or not, or detect if an object or a character is within an AI's field of view. The dot product itself is a mathematical operation that takes two sequences of numbers of the same length, and it returns a scalar value, that is to say, a single number. So it can be expressed as the formula on the top, where you multiply the vector's coordinates, but the one on the bottom is the one we're interested in. On a 2D plane, the dot product of two vectors is the product of their length or magnitude multiplied by the cosine of the angle between them. With normalized vectors, though, the length of these is 1, which means you can remove this part of the equation. You end up with the dot product of two vectors equals the cosine of the angle between them, and you can calculate the exact angle with the arccosine function. With unit vectors or normalized vectors, the dot product, being the cosine of the angle, will always be equal to something between I'm
not gonna lie, it's going one ear at the other.
-1 and 1.
I'll see how he uses all this and just implement it.
Two vectors have the same direction, their dot product is equal to 1 exactly. If they are at a 90-degree angle, the dot product is equal to 0, and if they are opposite, their dot product will be -1. Now there's a bit more to it than that. If the two vectors are facing in the same direction, so if the angle is less than 90 degrees, their dot product is positive. If, however, they are at more than a 90-degree angle, the dot product will be negative. That way, in a top-down game where your character can rotate freely, you can see if two characters are facing towards one another or away from one another, only with the dot product. You don't need to calculate the angle. With that in mind, let's jump onto Godot and see how we can code a field of view. There's a starting demo on GitHub in the start folder number 11 to follow along. In this simple demo, the player turns towards the mouse and you can see his field of view and his direction with the green vector. Now we're going to turn the field of view red whenever it detects something, whenever something inside of it. You can also see the various objects. These could be enemies or whatever. They have a direction vector that's facing away from the player. To get the angle from the dot product, we'll need to compare the player's direction vector to the enemy's direction vector. So here's how it works. To get the player's angle, I get its position, then I subtract the player position to the mouse position, and I normalize the vector. This gives us our look direction. The reason I take 90 and I subtract the angle obtained from the vector is that Godot doesn't orient the angles like in trigonometry. When we use the acos function to get the angle from the dot product, we'll use trigonometry. In Godot, the angle, when it's equal to 0, it's pointing down. On top of that, the angles are clockwise, while in trigonometry, the 0 is pointing towards the right and the angles are counterclockwise. This 90 minus the angle gives us that. An angle that, when equal to 0, corresponds to the right side of the screen, and that's counterclockwise. So if we go up, the angle gets bigger, and if we go down, the angle goes negative. To know if we detected anything, we use a variable called detectCount. There's some code related to the drawing down there. If we detect anything, the drawing color will be red. Then the enemies are all part of a group. In Godot, you find groups under the Node tab. They are next to the signals. These are strings or tags that you can put on any number of objects. In scripts, you can get a list of everything that's in a group using the getTree.getNodesInGroup function. Here, all the object nodes are in the detectable group. Before we do the calculations with the dot product, we have to be sure that the objects are in range. To do that, I check the distance from the player to the node. This is a member function in the vector2 class. You can find it in the docs. And to get the distance from one vector to the next, you have to write the name of the first vector, here the player position, dot, call the distance2 method, and as a parameter you pass the second vector. If this distance is less than the detection radius, it's equal to 200 pixels here, then we will check that dot product. Let's start with the dot product. To get it, you do it similarly to the method call above. There's a dot method on the vector2 class, so you write the name of a vector2 variable, the direction is 1. You call the dot method on it, and you give the second vector as its parameter, and it will be our node's direction. Note that the node is the element we get on every iteration of the tree. It's one of the objects from the scene. It will be object, then object 1, object 2, object 3, etc. This gives us a value between -1 and 1 because all the vectors are normalized. Remember, the dot product is the product of the magnitude of the vectors times the cosine of their angle. To calculate the angle now, we just have to take the arc cosine of the dot product. For that, you have the acos function, and you'll pass it the dot product. That's not enough though, because all the angle functions return radians and not degrees. We want degrees to work with. For that, we use the radian to degree function, and we leave the angle in radian inside of it. With those two lines, the angle to the node is the angle between the two vectors. And now we just have to check if the angle is smaller than half of the field of view. You'll find the FOV variable at the top. It's 80 degrees. So we have to check if it's less than 40 degrees. Because we're just comparing the character's direction to the enemy's direction. And the field of view is cut into two halves by...
No, I've done a lot of similar things in Game Maker before, and I'm having a slight, like, ADD attack right now, trying to keep up with what he's saying, but see how this goes.
The player's direction. If the angle to the node is smaller than the field of view divided by 2, then we add 1 to the detect count. With those few lines of code, whenever something inside of the cone of vision, it turns red.
Alright, so right there, he has what we're done. Oh. What? So what's ACOS? This is the function. What's that do? Cosine? Used to get the angle of cosine. So, okay, so one thing I need to get the direction. So I need to find self's direction. That's one issue. That's one thing I don't have. I have the position of it, but I don't have the direction. So that's probably the first thing I definitely need. And I think I can get the degrees of just the rotation line. That should be good. Rotate Y. Oh. So maybe get rotation. No. Good. So, okay, this is probably a spatial node property I'm looking at. Let's go down here. Transition rotation degrees. Okay. So I want that. So find self's direction. I think that's what I want. And then print degrees. I'm gonna say base player if I hit the debug button. Or let's cut that out. Let's run it out of here. And then I press the debug button. It'll print it. see how that works. Okay, debug button, 121, 27. How am I gonna use this? There must be radians, I'm guessing. Oh, I don't know. I didn't realize the number got up that high. I'm gonna try to convert it, see what happens. Like if it's a radian. Okay, let's run that. Okay, alright. So undo that. Maybe it is. Oh, you know what? You can rotate something a negative number. And it's just a rotation. It's not like a set rotation of degrees. If that makes sense. And I used to use a wrap function in GameMaker where I had instances where I needed my direction to be between 0 and 359. Because sometimes I'd have some direction where it was, say, 720. Okay, that's actually 0. Like the direction would be 0, but since the direction is 720, since you made two 360s, you're facing the same direction. But if I want to detect where he's facing, I'm going to need to wrap it. So I'm just gonna look into one of my projects here from GameMaker, and there might be something built in Godot. That's what I keep finding out, that I keep using old functions and stuff that I used to use all the time from GameMaker, but they're actually just straight up built into Godot. But let's see if I can use this. Copy. Just copy and paste this code right into Godot. And I guess I'll just make it a bot function here, a little utility section. And this angle difference, I think that's actually a function for, I think there's also an angle for the vector, for vector2, for the vector2 class. There is a method called angle difference, but I ported this from one of my older GameMaker projects, this angle difference function. Now, I don't know if I even really need to use that one, but it's what I'm familiar with. So, function 0, 1, 2, and 3. I don't even know what all that is. I'm assuming this must be x, y. I don't know. I forgot the arguments. What arguments? Alright, value, minimum, max. Okay. And so value. More argument zeros. Okay. Argument 1. Be minimum. Oops. Just put in a underscore there. What? Okay, I know you're pissed off. Use Visual Studio Code. I could probably just do find replace on here though. But oops. But I want to just bring this up. Bring up bot. Way down here. Alright, I can just. Alright, yeah, it's only one. Make this the value. This is minimum. Oh yeah, and I need to add a little underscore so it doesn't get confused with the function. Alright. Same thing. Next. Alright. Yep. Can't find the guy. What is it pissed off about? Oh, it's right there. Pretty sure it's right there. Okay. If mod return. Okay. I think that's it. And then over here, always. There, now I'm gonna test it, make sure it works. So, oops. Let's see. So let's wrap negative 720. Minimum 0, max is 359. Okay. Now I do Command Shift X. 357. Oh, it is between the two. If it's behaving right. I'm not sure. Should be 720. I think it's minus 360. Minus 360. Uh-oh. Yeah, it should. 357. If it was just one off, I can understand that, but 357. Maybe there's a built-in function for wrapping. Do wrap value. Pretty sure mod's the same as a percentage. Mod is less than 0. I wonder. Oh. Let's see. Alright, let's just keep it here. Alright. Okay, 0. Make sure 45. See what it does to 45. Still 45. See what it does with 359. It makes 359 0. Because it's less than, okay. So actually, might make more sense if I just made that 360. Let's, because it's just checking if it's less than. Okay. Now if it's at 360, 0. 361, 1. Okay. Let's see, 361 times 2. 722. See what 722 is. Should be 2. I was expecting 1. You know, this is a bug that I could have always used in this script. That always could have been there. I just didn't notice because I'm literally just losing one degree once it loops over once. Now it's 4. Huh. But it starts at 0 in Godot. Oh my gosh. This is gonna say 0, ain't it? Okay. It should do less than or equal to. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is 720. Oh, it is 720. Oh, it's no, times 2. Shift. Ha. That sucks. All this time. Now if I do 3, it's gonna lose 2 more degrees, which this might not even really matter that's doing this. Oh, I want an integer. Okay. Valid operations float. Oh. I have to make the rest floats too. But oh, fuck. Yeah, I think originally I actually made the wrap function. It was just a loop. I just added or subtracted 359 a bunch of times. And then I posted it in forums, and then somebody gave me this method. But it might be working differently because I copy and pasted it from Godot. Or I broke it at some point, I'm not sure. But somehow I keep getting... No, it's not working right. You know what might be the issue? Is if it starts at 0, you can't add or subtract 0. And this is probably all based on if it's between two numbers. I don't know. I'm gonna try wrapping it if it starts at 1. I think maybe this will be consistent. So between 1, let's say 360. Let's say 0. And that. Oh yeah, it went down to 359. 1. Now it wrapped it to 360. I wrapped 1 to 360, even though it matches the minimum value. I did it by this equal sign in. Huh? Yeah, can you send me a link? Is this going to be executable? I'm running Mac OS, but I do have a virtual machine for Windows. So I can just launch it through there. Let's see the Windows. Oh, I can still run it. Here. Just let me bring it over here. I play games on here all the time. I was playing Super Street Fighter 4 the other day. It works pretty good. Let's see now. Does it need this file too? Should be able to. Just in case it spits out anything. Put it in this folder. Is this the one I've seen on Twitter? I think it was Twitter. I actually did ask you what the link was on there too. I'm not the most artistic, but I think that's who this is geared towards. It's people who have trouble making stuff. Cool. Be released on Steam. And it's like just for $5, right? Full screen mode. Cool. And then, is there animations for these too? That I can look at? Oh wait, idle right up here. Okay, so there's idle, run, jump, die, stop. Cool. One thing that might be cool is, like, swords and stuff. You might be able to add, like, just have like a default swing, and then it be able to attach some external image onto it. But as a base, this is awesome. And then file name, sprite sheet mode, one roll or sequence, export animations. I'm adding more animations, separate weapons, more character types with different styles, and also possibly 3D models. Sweet. I wonder how hard a color picker would be. Or just give an additional option, you can just give the hue, or just the green, blue, and red, or something like that. But definitely have the pre-selected colors. What might look best? Oh, there is a color picker. Okay. Where is the color picker? Like if I want like brighter eyes. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Sweet. Then there's the item color. So somehow you can give them items. I take it. Considering there's the item color. Maybe it depends on the... Oh, I take it maybe certain characters have different properties, so all of them might not have an item. Or a costume. Oh. So I'm noticing it seems like past the suit color, or heck, even the suit color, sometimes these don't seem to do anything for the colors. I'm guessing it's because it might depend on the animation and and what character you pick. Like for costume, so far the picking colors don't seem to do much. But maybe it's because those properties only work for some of them. Oh, there's bugs. So these are supposed to do something, but I did some events that made them not work. Yeah, this seems pretty good. I don't. And so, are all these always used? Or if some of them maybe sometimes aren't used? I don't know if you can give some indication on whether it uses that or not, or maybe just hide that option. Oh, and I imagine there's no top down yet. Okay. Oh, I gotcha. Select output folder. And port options. Oh. Yeah, sweet. And plus for quick like prototyping and stuff, this would definitely be very useful. Oops. My mouse flickers sometimes. It takes a little bit to change to the Windows mouse. Sweet. And then there's different options for that too. Oops. Oh wait, it's right here. Ah, I find another bug. All the colors and half of the settings are gone. Is that another bug? So, plus I don't know if this has any bearing. I doubt it, but it's a possibility because I am running this on a virtual machine. It might have added some extra elements there. I guess I can just close it and open it back up. Should fix it. But I mean, even with that little bug there, I mean, I can still just exit out and open it back up. The only thing I guess would have been nice if I kept the character, which I guess all I have to do is hit save, and that should have. Is there a way to save your current character that you're messing with? Just so you can edit it later? Okay, at least it saves the palette. It might be cool if it could continue off on the last animation you had picked, or the last character. Oh, that's sweet. And then this one, I can add more and take it. And I'm guessing there's a way to add to the palette. I'm just not seeing how to do that. Oh, it's the heart. Oh, this is for sharing it on Twitter. Oh, okay, the plus and minus. Alright. And then you can delete it. Took me a little bit. Oh, and you can lock the color so you don't mess with it. That's cool. White, sprint, outline color. Alright. Oh, yeah, that seems really good. Alright. Close all this out. Yeah, I'll have to keep that there. I actually get it on Steam. It'd be worth getting. Yeah, seems like this suspended last time. Should probably shut it down, right? Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. And I don't know, after a while, after the stream's done, it should automatically post on YouTube if you want that clip of where that bug happened. I might just make a clip out of it later, or just share you the YouTube video later with that segment where that bug happened. Yeah, and I'm assuming that was made with Godot. Dang it. It did not work. I'll have to ask for some help here. Let's post this. Oh, I think my testing method is just faulty. My testing method is faulty. Really, if I did want to test this, I would have... Yeah, that's the issue. I would add 360 to it. Plus 360, and it shouldn't change anything. But it is changing it still by 1. But I think I just realized just multiplying it like that, that's faulty. Okay, but now just adding 360, I am getting some weird variations. I could set it back to this, how it was before. And start all over again here. 0. Alright, let's throw out a 270. Okay. Let's try a 359. Okay, that gave me 0. Alright, that's not what I want. Alright, I'll make that 360 then. That should wrap back to 0 then. When I hit 360. Okay, but so let's say I'm at 359. Alright, then plus 360. It should still be 359. Sweet. Okay. So 360 plus 360. Alright. It probably just worked dandy the whole time. I'm just special. Alright. Play that music. Alright. Well, I guess I learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I'll see you next time.